I'm going to be sharing with you in this video how to stop attracting negative situations and negative people in your life. Because here's the truth is that a lot of people on this planet right now are running off of fear. And this fear is attracting negative situations to them in their life, and they don't even realize it. They don't even realize that they are manifesting negative situations and negative people in their life just because of the state that they are in. Now, if you've ever heard that energy flows where attention goes, that's exactly right. Because where you put your energy and where you put your focus, that is what you will manifest in your life. But what if I told you that if you didn't have control over where your attention goes, then you're going to manifest negative situations in your life? Because most people are unconsciously keeping their attention on things that they don't prefer. So they end up manifesting all these situations, all these people, and that heavy energy is dictating their entire life. All the decisions that they make, all the decisions that most people make are based on fear. Now, when you allow fear to control your life, what happens is that you're not going to be in alignment with what you want to manifest. And you're also going to attract negative situations and negative people in your life that you don't prefer to actually have. So if you're new to this channel, what I want you to do is to hit that subscribe button and that notification bell, because I post a new video every single day. Also, if you want to work with me one-on-one, hit the link that's in the description box of this video and apply for a free consultation to see if you'd be a good fit for the coaching program. Now, the first thing I want you to understand before I go deeper into this topic is that most people are living their lives from fear. Now, what happens is that when you're living your life from fear, you end up being in alignment with energy that is also fearful. That's just how it works. There's no way around that, because when you're running off of fear, what happens is that other people that are also in a state of fear are also going to be attracted to that energy. That's why two people that have a very big ego are a perfect vibrational match for each other. Two people that love to argue, two people that love to hate and judge are just going to come together as a perfect match and start judging each other and start hating each other, which may even lead to confrontation that leads to war. That's what war is. It's two egos fighting, thinking that they are separate. Now, this is going to block you from manifesting what it is that you want, absolutely, but it's also going to attract negative situations in your life that you don't prefer to have. So what is the way around this? Well, before I share with you how the energy dynamics of this whole ordeal and how it actually works, is to understand that you may be running on fear unconsciously. You might not even realize that you're being totally controlled by fear. Now, this is super, super critical to understand, because if you don't figure this out and you don't change your core vibration, what's going to happen is that you're going to attract people at that same frequency as you are on. That's just how it works. So understand, before I go any deeper into this, if you take one thing from this video and you close this video early, which I don't recommend, I recommend that you watch this video till the end, because this is really, really powerful information that can literally potentially save your life. You need to realize that fear is what is controlling most people's reality. And it may be controlling your reality as well. It controlled my reality for the longest time. But when I realized that fear is what ultimately attracts these situations into my life, I started to shift my focus and my awareness because I realized that fear is what creates those situations. When you project fear out into the world, you're much more likely to create that situation. Now, what you have to see is that the way around this is to prioritize the present moment and let go of the fear. Now, how do you do this? Well, first understand that people will respond to you based on your level of vibration and perception and your awareness of the present moment. What does that mean? That means that if you come into an interaction with a person, let's say, and that person had no intention of doing anything to you, but then you came in there with your negative vibration of fear, judging that person, having an expectation and a judgment that you created from a projection in your own mind based on your past experience or your fear of the future, that projection would actually bring out that quality within that person that they normally would not have done unless you did that projection first. Now really think about that, because reality is just a reflection of your internal world. Now what does that mean? You're thinking, Francis, I've heard that before. You're just copying other YouTubers. Well, I have a specific perspective that I've never heard anybody talk about, which is people will respond to you based on your level of vibration. Now, actually, I lied to you. I have heard that, but I have a story that I've never shared before, which is that I used to go to high school, obviously. And I remember that I had this friend, and what happened was he actually manifested his worst fear, which was getting attacked by somebody. Now, I used to go to parties, and I didn't hang out with the best crowds all the time. Now, I'm totally past that, but at that phase in my life, what happened was there was a danger and a potential to be involved with certain kind of energies and people that I didn't want to be involved with. Now, that never happened in my reality, because in my reality, I didn't judge people. I didn't judge them through my ego. I didn't judge them through the perception of my mind. I didn't judge them based on my perception of the past or the future. What I did was I was unconditionally present to the moment. And what I noticed is that those same people that would respond to me in a very nice way, because I assumed that they were actually good people at the core, which all people are. It's a unconditional goodness that is beyond the identity of what we attach to. I was able to see these people, these negative people, so to speak, as who they really are beyond the ego. And I would notice that these same people would actually treat others differently depending on their level of consciousness and their ego and how they perceive that person. Now understand how powerful what I just shared with you actually is, because that literally shows you that the external world is a reflection of how you perceive things to be, even people. It's not that you're changing the person, it's that your perception of that person brought out qualities within them that otherwise would not have came out. They have free will, that person has free will. You're not controlling people, but what you are doing is you're bringing out certain things because of your perception of that person. Now, this is very, very, very important, because what that shows is that if you let go of your ego, if you make the present moment your priority, then people will respond to you differently. And this always happened to me. When I was at that phase in my life in high school, I would never attract these people in my reality. That's a parallel reality that I never entered into. And then there was my old high school friend attracting this person, attracting this situation, this fear. Exactly what he didn't want to happen is exactly what happened. Now, this is super critical to understand when it comes to the manifestation process, because a lot of people are unconsciously, without even realizing it, putting their focus on things that they don't want to manifest. And it's because they're at such a low vibration of fear that all their thoughts are ultimately connecting them into parallel realities that they don't actually prefer to be in. So what does this show us? This shows that you need to prioritize the present moment and also notice your judgments towards people and situations. And notice how the mind is always interpreting and labeling everything, and there's a story around something. There's the actual reality, the objective truth that is actually real. And then there's the mind labeling things as something, as bad, as good. And oftentimes that labeling and the story around the situation can create that reality. The story creates the reality. So if you come in with an expectation of somebody acting a certain way, that person may actually act in that way because of the expectation that you set, because of your unconscious attitude before that. Now, you didn't choose that consciously, but you still manifested it. Now, here's the powerful part, is that you can consciously redirect your focus and expect things to happen in the way that you prefer, rather than your ego coming up with some story based on your past. Now, by the way, that person had a very strong fear based on his past experiences of entering situations like that, and that's exactly what happened to him. Where me, I didn't have any negative experiences. I was already on my spiritual awakening path. I was able to let go of a lot of conditioning. I would notice my judgments towards people, which is super powerful, by the way. Do not judge people with your ego. What I was able to do is not judge people, and then what happened was people would respond to me differently, personally, for me, and then that person got into arguments, got into angry situations, negative situations popped up into his life because of the vibration and the internal attitude that he had towards life. Now, I want you to really think about how powerful that really is, because there's an infinite amount of parallel realities that exist in this moment, and depending on your level of presence and also what you choose to focus on, you will end up in a reality that is a reflection to that. And what is a reflection? It means that when you put your focus on something long enough and you make that your story, you're going to start to see things happening in your life that are based on that focus. Now, here's another thing as well, is that a lot of people are also focused on what they don't want. This is Law of Attraction 101. If you're afraid of attracting something in your life, what are you doing? You're doing the exact opposite of what the Law of Attraction wants you to do. You're directly focusing on what you don't want to attract. Here's a quick little test. Now, I know this sounds silly, but try this. Do not think about a blue elephant right now. Don't think about a blue elephant. Don't think about a blue elephant. Now, what pops up in your mind? Obviously, a blue elephant. Now, that may seem simple. That might seem like a joke to you. You might be laughing right now. You might be thinking this is ridiculous. Maybe you're actually on board with me. Whatever your reaction is, understand that when you say you don't want something in your life, you start thinking about that. So if you're thinking, I don't want to be attacked by a stranger, and that's a serious situation. Like that's a really real fear that people have. They're afraid of being attacked by getting into situations. Or if you tell yourself, I don't want this negative situation in my life, or I don't want this. Now, before I go deeper, what I do want to say, by the way, is that positive thoughts are thousands of times more powerful than negative thoughts. So one negative thought is totally cool. Don't think that, oh my gosh, okay, if I think one negative thought and I think about what I don't want, now I'm going to attract it into my life. No, don't worry about that. Totally normal to have negative thoughts. I have negative thoughts still occasionally. Very little, because my core vibration is higher from all the meditation. But when I have those thoughts, I just observe them and I let them go. And I understand that those negative thoughts don't have the same power and purity that positive thoughts do and positive vibrations. So understand that a lot of people are also focusing on what they don't want. So here's what you do. Rather than saying, I don't want to think about a blue elephant, just say, hey, I want to think about a purple elephant. And then what happens is right away, your mind releases the blue elephant and you switch to the purple elephant. So rather than thinking about, I don't want to be attacked, or I don't want this situation, or I don't want this person, focus on what you want. I want to be alone. I want to be safe. I am grateful that I am safe. I want this. Make sure, now that might seem simple. It's like, Francis, well, that's kind of obvious. That's Law of Attraction 101. Well, you'd be surprised how many people on the spiritual path completely neglect this simple fact of focusing on what you want. Now, here's the thing as well. This becomes thousands of times more powerful when you learn to become present at the moment and not judge things with your ego. Because now you're a pure spiritual vessel. You're completely pure. You have that pure consciousness and awareness that you bring forth to situations. You're a non-judgmental, unconditional, loving soul. That alone will bring a certain energy to the situation, which makes you far less likely to attract negative situations and people. And if you do end up in some situation with negative energy, you're far less likely to be affected by that energy because of the energy that you bring to that situation, because of the vibration that you're on. So something will happen in the universe where you end up leaving perfectly safe and you're completely unaffected by it, because everything is connected. There is no separation. Nothing is separated, everything is connected. Now, when you understand that, it's much easier to remove the heaviness and fear around getting into a situation, because you realize that all you have to focus on is your level of consciousness and presence. Now, to take it a step further, from that pure state of being a totally empty and pure vessel, now what you do is you focus on what you want. You want to be safe. Don't be anti-war, be pro-peace. People get that totally wrong. They're focused on exactly what they don't want, and then what do they get in their life? They get that blue elephant that they didn't want to be thinking about. Now, what you have to see is that focus on what you want. So if you're focused on some specific fear, now all of us have very different fears. All of us are totally different. So I don't know what your fear is. Maybe you're afraid of attracting a person, a situation. Don't focus on, I don't want this person in my life. What is your mind thinking about? That person, that person, that person. Fear, fear, fear. You end up attracting that person. Now, once again, it's okay to have one thought, but observe that thought, let it go, and redirect your attention to what you prefer instead. Now, of course, this is thousands of times more powerful when you prioritize your consciousness and your presence and how connected you are to the moment. Remember, there is no coincidence in this world. Everything happens in exact, perfect balance and is perfectly happening in accordance to the laws of attraction and the laws of how the world works. There's no coincidence that I didn't attract those realities into my life, and the people around me that had very big egos were attracting other egos getting into very negative situations. I was able to be more humble and step out of situations, not defend my ego and my sense of self when I was presented with negative energy, and peacefully leave the situation with love. Now that's a win-win situation. I leave, that person doesn't get judged for who they are, and I see them as the pure, empty consciousness that they really are, beyond the conditioning of their mind, because that person isn't really negative. If you judge somebody as, somebody that's negative or attacks people and they rob people, that person could have been you, because they were conditioned in a certain way. Now, when you were presented with negative people in your life or negative situations, understand that we all come from the same awareness. And that if you can look past the conditioning of that person and see them as what they really are, which is just consciousness just like you, and accept the negativity within them that is also within you, you'll see that people will respond to you in a much different way. So understand that there's two things from this video you have to master to not attract these situations in your life, which is to prioritize the present moment. Notice your judgments when you're going through life. Are you judging people? And if you are, understand that your perception of who you think somebody is has nothing to do with who they are. That is a falsely created perception that is tuning you into realities, into parallel realities that you do not prefer to be in. So notice your judgments. Observe your thoughts throughout your day. Be the awareness of your thoughts and notice that you're judging people, and those judgments are creating realities that you do not prefer to be in. A lot of people are doing this. They're unconsciously judging people, and by the way, if you're judging people, you're just judging yourself. That's what karma really is. You judge somebody else, it's not that it comes back in the universe one day. It's that simultaneously, while you're judging somebody else, that energy that you're projecting is going to come right back at you, because everything is connected. That's karma happening in real time in the present moment. The bigger ego that you have, the more likely that you are to attract another ego, and the ego is extremely destructive in nature. The ego destroys itself and others around itself. And there's no coincidence there. That is not a coincidence. That is karma happening in real time in the present moment. So understand that what you want to do is prioritize your awareness. Prioritize being present to the moment. Do not judge people based on your perception of them. Because at the end of the day, Your perception has nothing to do with the people. You don't know what that person has been through. You don't know what kind of a life they've been living. You don't know anything about that person and their personal history. And their personal history has nothing to do with who they are as a spiritual being. Now, if you can see that pure reality beyond the identity, you'll bring forth those qualities out of those people and also situations, just being that pure, empty, unconditionally present being that you really are. And that person is too. They're just not conscious of it. So you got to show gratitude in the moment and compassion for that person. So to conclude this video, understand that your goal to stop attracting negative situations and negative people in your life should be to become more present to the moment, observe your judgments and let them go, and understand that your ego is what is attracting these situations in your life. And the bigger ego that you have, the more likely you are to attract these situations. And also remember to just take the basics back of the law of attraction and focus on what you want. I know that sounds simple. I know you've heard that before, but combine that with this knowledge that I shared with you in this video and understand that you have to focus on what you want and not what you don't want. So that's all I have for this video. If you like this video, I want you to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell. Also, I have a free guided meditation that's specifically designed to connect you deeper to the present moment, that will put you in the state of peace, that will already, as a foundation, stop you from attracting these negative situations into your life. So if you want to try that out, it's totally free. Once again, hit the link that's in the description box of this video. I'll also leave it as a comment in this video. Have yourself a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.